I decided to leave the military, and here's why. Simply put, I've outgrown it. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the 5 questions I've asked myself to come to this conclusion. Hope this helps. If we are meeting for the first time, nice to meet you. My name is Yoon. Before I joined the military, I used to work at Abercrombie Fitch as a full-time stock for $10 an hour. Had a Origami YouTube channel and had a business online selling health supplements. All the while going to my local community college, studying business, just because my parents wanted me to. So I did that from 2012 to 2014, and truth be told, like nothing was working out for me. Working at Abercrombie Fitch for another 2 or 3 years didn't seem like a viable option. My Origami YouTube channel never really flourished, and my health supplement business was just a money pit that I was just throwing more money into without any results. And because my focus was elsewhere, my academics were suffering. I failed algebra twice from the same teacher. I was withdrawing from classes. And so out of embarrassment, I basically packaged like, hey, I'm gonna join the military because I'm gonna go get free education and all that kind of stuff. So I basically like ran away and left for boot camp in June 2015 with $200 as an E1 22-year-old, went to an aircraft carrier. And the goal that I had at the time, I had a 5-year contract, was I'm gonna save $100,000 and buy a used Lamborghini afterwards. From 2015 to 2020, I saved, learned to invest, and got to 140K. And I kind of matured a little bit and gave my parents 100K for them to buy this house, down payment. We're Korean American immigrants, so it was super important for me to kind of give back to my parents because I really loved them, and the way they measured happiness and success, you know, through their life was a level of home ownership that they've never had because they just rented all their life. Believe me, it was a mental struggle for a little bit to overcome like giving away $100,000, but looking back, it was totally worth it. With the remaining 40K plus some more in 2020, started investing into coaches, mentors, programs, and courses to help me expand in my personal development and my business development and business knowledge and entrepreneurship. Started a business in December 2020, and 2021 made 113K. 2022 made right about 120K. 2023 this year I make right about $11,000 per month. So halfway through the year, I'm right about at 80K for the year. All the while still active duty in the military. Back in 2022, my business mentor and his partners and a couple of other people and myself, we started a business, and I assumed the role as a chief operating officer. 1 year later, July 2023, we locked in our first year right about at $2.5 million. So with that in mind, here are the 5 questions I've asked myself. Number 1, what was my goal in joining the military, and does it still hold true? My goal was to make $100,000. I made that plus some more, and I make that consistently per year. So it's evolved. Along with that, I remember in boot camp, as I was kind of like writing stuff down, I wanted to become the best version of myself because I wasn't happy with the lack of success that I had previously. I wasn't happy with all the failed experiments that I had previously. I wasn't happy with who I was previously. I felt like a failure. I didn't have a lot of confidence. I just knew I wanted to become the best version of myself. I didn't really know how the military was going to help me with that and what it was going to look like in terms of going through that transformation. Number 2, have I been able to accomplish that? And what is the evidence? So it's one thing to say, yes, I did it, but it's another thing to be able to provide evidence to back it up. And if the answer is no, I have not, then what I would default into is, how did I create the situation that I'm in? In the military, it's so easy to be emotionally attached to your situation and blame other things. I have learned that you just have to separate emotions from what happened and just datafy things and just take full command and ownership. Well, when it comes to making $100,000, this house is an evidence of that, so that's good. And in terms of becoming the best version of myself, remembering and knowing where I came from, the lack of success, the lack of confidence that I've had, if I was still the same person and I still operated the same way, there's no way that I would make the level of income that I'm making now. There's no way that I can take an old operating system that has proven not to work into a new body and still operate the same way, expecting a greater result, right? So I have become the better and best version of myself, still continuing to build on myself based on the evidence of being able to build a company, having a good portfolio of houses and assets and stocks, and being able to do stuff for my family. Okay, so I had my goals, I've accomplished it, I have evidence. What is my next goal? Well, the way I measure success success is by how happy I am. How do I measure happiness? Well, I remember feeling of happiness when I am with my family, when I'm able to provide for my family, when I'm able to take trips with my family, when I'm able to do things with my parents, with my relatives, with my siblings. So the way I can measure happiness is by being able to have the ability to provide experiences for my family. So therefore, I want to also stretch myself and challenge myself to become the next best version of myself. And therefore, my goal is to make $1 million in a single year. Question number 4, in what ways can the military still support my goal and help me grow into accomplishing this? One thing I have to acknowledge is that from the military perspective, the only thing they want me to become the best at is being a good service member. And a service member has a left and right parameters called the UCMJ that is translatable and definable however they want to define it. So I don't have a lot of choice. So while I can still succeed within this left and right parameter, I am restricted to what I can and can't do, what I can and can't say. Now, from my experiences of being in the military, it is a big mental challenge. Emotionally, it is a struggle to be in the military, but like I said before, I had to learn how to separate my emotions and look at the situation purely from a data perspective to be able to understand how can I extract the level of growth and continue to grow and develop. From a data perspective, there are 3 things uniquely from the military that can support me in my goal to continue achieving high levels of success. A is going to be being a Navy SEAL, which is going to challenge me to the core, but I already know I'm too attached to the world, to my family, then I know I'm going to quit along the way. So that's not a realistic thing for me. B is true military leadership styles. I've studied many Navy SEALs books to be able to admire their level of leadership style. And from having led a team of 19 people to grow a multiple $1-million company, I can tell you that I have not met anybody else in the military with a high level leadership skill sets that I possess. And I am not saying this because I'm cocky. I am saying this with evidence that I've spent and invested $150,000 in coaches and mentors to be able to teach me all these necessary skills that I need to have and that I have. But I would still love to experience and study what it's like to have true military leadership style that I've just never had. Lastly, letter C is organization. Before I began my company, I thought the military was like a complete mess and it was all filled with chaos and disorganized. But after starting my company, I've understood how well the military is actually organized, and it's one of the most organized things. And I still take many inspiration as to how to structure my company from the military. So those 3 are something I would say I can still learn a lot more from the military, but realistically for me to pursue being a Navy SEAL and learning true leadership, it's just not realistic. And in terms of organization purposes, I can still study it from outside in. Question number 5, what needs to happen in the military for my goal to be aligned so that we can still tread the same path? The military has gotten a fantastic deal employing me within their payroll. They only pay me like a couple $1,000 per month, but the set of skills and value that I bring to the table is literally tremendous. Now, knowing myself, what makes me very unhappy is when my ability and when my skill sets are suppressed. In the military, you have to follow what's called a chain of command, and believe it or not, chain of command has a high level of ego and pride. And so it doesn't matter that I've invested $150,000 into myself to develop all these skills. Their level of pride and ego will never let me flourish from my experience of actually going through this for the last 8 years. Now, the only way I would actually stay in the military is if they paid me $1 million per year. Is that possible? Anywhere near possible? And the answer is no. The best I could probably do is be the highest admiral out there in the world, and they'll probably only get paid maybe $250,000 per year. And even then, I would have to be in the military for like 30 to 40 years or something like that. And so in pursuit of my mission, for me to be happy, for my family to be happy, for my family to experience success, does it align with the military? And the answer is no. Do I have the level of confidence that I can make $1 million a year, that I can succeed outside the military? The answer is yes, because I have evidence. I've built a company. I have more support and more confidence in myself than ever before that I can pursue and get after this thing. Therefore, at the end of the day, I have realized I have have outgrown all the opportunities that the military can provide me. Appreciate you watching. Hope this helped. If you want to see how I live my everyday life, highly recommend we connect on Instagram. If you want to see the lessons I learned from the Navy, check out this video. If you want to see the lessons that I learned from creating a multi-seven-figure business while in the military, check out this video. Peace.